On today's show, I'm going to give you 5 reasons why it is important that you have a strong why defining why you want to get debt free. Stay tuned.
Welcome to Debt Free Latina, the podcast where you can finally realize your dream of being debt free and feeling peace about your financial future. And now your host, Mayra Alejandra Garcia.
Hola, hola. Thank you so much for being here. I am so excited to talk about this topic of why. When you don't have a strong why, it is very easy to fall back into our old habits. And it's really easy to pick up our old habits because that's all we know. And when you have a strong why, it keeps you really strong and able to push through when things get really hard, because they're going to get hard. If there's anything about this debt-free journey that I can tell you is that there are going to be unexpected twists and turns. There are going to be unexpected things that happen to you that you never thought were possible, whether they're positive or negative. And there's a combination of both. It's interesting how there were times in our debt-free journey that we had money show up for things that we never expected. One was when my husband was in the middle of a hailstorm here in Phoenix back in 2010, I believe. We had a massive hailstorm that hit the city and it completely destroyed our car that was a year old. And that actually helped us because we received a check to fix the car. But because my husband's dad does body work, we were able to get it done at a discount. And so we were able to keep the difference. So there are things like that that will just show up in your life that you're just like, I never expected this. And then you have situations where you may forget to put something important on the calendar and therefore you didn't plan for it in your budget. And you still have to go through with whatever it is because it's essential. It's important to your family that you maybe attend a wedding or whatever. And these are the things that you have to learn to just figure out and adjust a budget accordingly, but still get right back on it. And getting back on the journey to debt freedom is what's really hard to do when you've been sidetracked. So I wanted to talk about, there are 5 things that will help you have a strong why. Number 1, the reason that it's so important is that it keeps you motivated. And your why keeps you inspired and focused. And so you know exactly what that looks like. You know exactly what you want. And for us, we really didn't go on vacations when the kids were little. We hardly ever went anywhere. It was before our debt-free journey, we really didn't vacation anywhere. I can't think of anywhere that we went. If it was maybe a short road trip to somewhere nearby, but it wasn't like we went out of state or anything. It was something local. And so now I feel like, if you're following me on Instagram, you see I'm in my travel era. I am traveling quite a bit this year and we're doing a lot. I know that I've had some Instagram DMs where they're like, how do you do it? And I was like, well, we don't have debt. And so my husband drives an old car and I don't really buy a whole lot of clothes. And there's a lot of reasons why. It's not just one. It's really a lifestyle. But these are things that make me happy. Like I actually don't mind wearing pieces that I absolutely love over and over. And that was a recent post that I did on Instagram about how I wore the same dress for 2 of my trips in August. I went to Vegas in early August and then I went to Portland at the end of August. And yes, I wore the same dress because I love it. And it's okay to rewear things. There's no reason why you have to buy new clothes because you're going on a trip. If you have pieces that you love, it's okay to rewear them. It's okay to take pictures and have, the same outfits. I understand that that's important to some people, and that's okay too. I think that that's where it's like you give and take, right? There's things that are important to you that may not be to me, and vice versa. And it's not wrong. It's just different. And those are the different choices that we each get to make. All of us. Number 2, you get clarity. You get to really define what's important to you. And so for me, that means, I really value my travel era right now. It is important to me. I am having a great time traveling, and it helps me make my financial choices, right? I could be using that money for something else, but my travel era is important to me right now. And so that's the priority. And to others, people are in so many different seasons in their life that just because they see me maybe traveling and they're like, oh, I wish I could do that too. It's like, you can have that season too. That season can come to you. And you may not have seen how we've been at this budgeting, debt-free journey, whatever you want to call it, this lifestyle for 14 years. It didn't just happen overnight. People are just now seeing my travel era and saying like, how do you do it? Oh my gosh. And it's like, we got out of debt back in 2012. We started our journey in 2010. We've been at this quite a bit. I think 14 years in was a little late for us. We should have been traveling a while back. And that's okay. The third reason why it's important to have a strong why is that you have a strong commitment. You know exactly what you want. And when you're committed to that goal, it just makes it possible. I know a lot of people talk about manifesting, and I'm not a fan of manifesting. I'm a God girl. And so for me, I just feel like having a commitment to what's important and really prioritizing my money in the way that we see fit, that fits our value system, is important. And that really helps with having that strong why. If you're committed to it, if you know where you're headed, it's a lot easier to stick to the plan. Number 4, is your why connected to you emotionally? Like, does it have an emotional connection? And if so, then you're most likely to be successful in this journey. And the reason for that is because when you have really processed the why, and you can see it, you can feel it, you know what that feels like, and you have like big picture, it's a lot easier to stick to the plan because this journey can be long. It depends. Everybody's journey is very different, but it usually is between 2 and 5 years. And it can get long. It can get really hard. You want to throw in the towel a lot of the times. Let's be real. But it's important that you stick to it. Because in the long run, you are way better off. And you are able to really use that money that you were maybe paying on interest to invest into something that makes you money, not cost you money. Number 5, it builds resilience. Yep, that's correct. You become resilient. People all around, this is hard for people. This is very hard. So if you can just stay focused, keep the course, don't get deviated. You got this. You can get out of debt. You can pay off every single penny you have borrowed. You just gotta stay focused. Will you have to make some choices that are very hard? Maybe. It just depends on how much you owe. You might have to make some choices, because they're not sacrifices. I don't like to use the word sacrifices. They're choices. You get to choose to be wise. You can choose to be unwise. But if you're listening to the show, you know that there is a better way. And there is wisdom in being debt-free. I don't care what all the other people are saying. When you are debt-free, you sleep better, there's less stress, and you have more freedom to do what you want. And that's the truth. You become resilient. And that's a quality that is not seen very often. So when you think of why you're doing this, why are you in your journey? Think through, what will you be achieving? What is it? What do you want to do in 5-10 years? What do you want to have the ability to do? Because you're gonna do it. It's just a matter of time. You're gonna have to learn and build new habits. And it's gonna be hard to break the old patterns, but you can do it. You can totally do it. Everyone's situation is so unique. And that's why if you are ready to make a change and you don't know where to start, call me. Go to debtfreelatina.com, book a 15-minute call with me. It's absolutely free. There's no obligation. Just get on the phone with me. Let's talk through your specific situation. Thank you so much for listening today. I really look forward to these chats, friend. I know it's hard. Keep going. Have a strong why. Start dreaming. Start thinking big. Because you will be a debt-free Latina. I promise. See you next week.
Thanks for listening to Debt Free Latina. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can take Mayra with you on your journey to become debt-free as you build financial wealth. Looking for more? Follow Mayra on Instagram at debtfree.latina, Facebook at debtfreelatina, and online at debtfreelatina.com.